It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe the facility you manage could establish new revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Cart King International can be the answer to your needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.
If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law. PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with pure soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to sing a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild. The Opperman Report is brought to you by Aquadam.net. You can give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, the insurance companies to deal with, and not to mention all the memories, the precious memories that are lost in the flood. You can never replace those. And Aquadam can be a tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. The cofferdam is filled with water to control water and is reusable as long as it's taken care of. It can protect your home or business from rising floodwaters like a dam, but without the beavers. It can also be used in construction. If you need an area to be dewatered, an Aquadam can do the job. An Aquadam was used at SeaWorld in Orlando for the Mako roller coaster ride during the coaster's construction by dewatering the work area. An Aquadam is now dewatering the work area at San Antonio SeaWorld for their newest roller coaster ride. An Aquadam has been used in many construction projects all around the U.S. and all around the world. Now give Aquadam a call, 707-764-2119. You can look them up online at aquadam.net. You can find them on Facebook at Aquadam Inc. You call them up, you email them, you tell them Ed Opperman sent you, and they're going to take 10% off the price. Aquadam.net, 707-764-2119.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. You can find me at Opperman Investigations and Digital Forensic Consulting through my website, emailrevealer.com. If you like today's show, check out OppermanReport.com. That's where we have our members section. You can go there and check out all kind of exclusive content you won't find online anywhere. And as always, our archives are free at Spreaker.com. You go to Spreaker.com, sign up for free. You get an email notification anytime we put up new content. And there's also a chat room. You can go there and talk to people. I've really been looking forward to this. We just booked this guest yesterday, Kevin Blatt. And he's known as the fixer to the stars, okay? And he's known as the guy who brokers all the Hollywood sex tapes, okay? Scandals and all kind of stuff. He's got a website he runs called ProfileDefenders.com. And it's like one of those reputation repair things where people are slandering you and defaming you on the internet, and he can go in there and fix that all up. Kevin Blatt, are you there?
Yes, sir. How you doing, Ed?
I'm doing really good, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Tell us about yourself. Who is Kevin Blatt?
Well, I'm a nice Jewish boy that grew up on the east side of Cleveland. My parents would have preferred me to become a lawyer or a doctor, but instead I found my way out to the West Coast in 1996 after having literally over 150 different jobs in my lifetime in Cleveland. Found my way into, like I said, a myriad of positions. Eventually, my final destination was the adult internet in 1996, which you could imagine in 96, 97, people didn't know a mouse from a mouse pad or an ISP from anything, internet service provider. I'd gone to work for a bunch of kids who were 17, 18-year-old kids who wore backward baseball hats and had backpacks and were making disclaimers on their adult websites saying you must be 18 years of age or older to enter. And in most cases, these kids were younger than 18. That made my eyes open to a whole new technology and a whole new industry, which was just burgeoning at the time, the adult internet business. Befriended a lot of major players, porn stars, actors, mafia characters that owned a lot of the old school bookstores and the part of the big pornography industry. And lo and behold, in 2003, after doing a lot of press for a lot of major adult companies, a person called me up, a good friend of mine from Seattle, and said, I have a sex tape of a woman named Paris Hilton. And I said, who? And he told me that this was the heiress to the Hilton fortune. And she was going to become quite a big deal very soon because she had a reality show coming out on Fox called The Simple Life. And I went and visited this person. They told me how they got the tape. We gave him $50,000 and a third of the back-end profits as part of a tentative deal. And about a week and a half later, I found myself being sued for $20 million by just about everybody in Hollywood. That was my foray into celebrity sex tapes. Obviously, that made me a destination for more sex tapes. And then came the Kim Kardashian tape, and then came the Cameron Diaz tape, and then came, like I said, the Colin Farrell tape. And it just snowballed into a side career. I mean, I never thought in a million years I'd end up being a person who would be intercepting a lot of these tapes once the industry pretty much imploded. As you know, the adult industry is not the same as it was in the mid-'90s. Or maybe you don't know. I don't know what your viewing habits are, Ed, but back then people would actually pay money to see these websites. Now everything's been made free via the tube sites and has become just homogenous. So it's a different business. It's still reinventing itself, and there's still people out there making a ton of money with it. Well, I found myself on a different path because I realized after I couldn't sell these tapes any longer to make money with them, I found out that a lot of lawyers in this town would pay more money to suppress them.
Now, were you involved with the Pam Anderson tape?
Pam Anderson was not me. However, that was a friend of mine named Seth Warshawski out of Seattle, Washington. He had a company called Club Love, or Internet Entertainment Group, or IEG as they were famously called. And the people that contacted me about the Paris Hilton tape happened to be best friends with Seth Warshawski, and they took a page out of his book. The thing about Seth and the Pam and Tommy Lee tape that people never really talk about is when he had come out and publicized that he had this tape, he had basically stated that he would be showing this tape at his website, Club Love, at a certain date at a certain time. fully expecting to get a cease and desist or some type of legal letter from Pam and Tommy Lee. When that didn't happen, he was perplexed. He's like, well, what do I do? I guess I got to release it now. And his lawyer at the time went to Pam and Tommy's lawyer, and the feeling was at that point, and this is exactly the quote that was said by Pam and Tommy Lee, what do we need to stop this for? I never heard of this internet. I don't think this internet's going to be a big thing. So how bad could it really hurt us? I don't think this is going to be anything. No one will ever see it.
Right.
Boy, were they wrong.
Now, in the Small World department, the guy who was in One Night in Paris, the male guy, I forget his name right now, but later on he married
Rick
Pam.
Solomon.
Yeah, Rick Solomon, right. Now, he married Pam Anderson.
Married her twice. In fact, I just spoke to Rick the other day. It's funny. I initially met him when he was suing me for $20 million.
Okay.
We had a meeting of the minds after he got another tape to put out, a legal tape with One Night in Paris, which became Red Light District Video's #1 selling adult movie of all time. It became the biggest selling adult movie of all time, by the way. And the irony is, like you said, he ended up marrying Pam Anderson. And it goes even one step further that you're going to find this absolutely interesting. Rick's got 2 daughters. One of them, Hunter, was being chased all over town by Conrad Hilton. Conrad Hilton being the younger brother of Paris and Mickey Hilton, and was arrested for stalking Hunter Solomon and E.G. Daly at their house in the Hollywood Hills about 1.5 to 2 years ago.
Get out of here. I never heard that, yeah.
Yeah, it's something that was kind of suppressed. He ended up going to a mental institution for a little while because he had a lot of problems.
Okay, that's fascinating. What about that? We were talking yesterday, and you said something about that there was a elevator tape.
This is an interesting story, and again, I'm just going to say that this has all been stated to me by various people that worked inside of TMZ. At one time, I was pretty much TMZ's biggest tipster. When TMZ first came on the scene, I was approached by a guy named Mike Walters, who was the assignment manager there and the news editor of TMZ. He was very interested in everything Paris Hilton, right? So then when he and I met, he explained to me that TMZ pays big money for stories, and you probably know a lot of people in town, so maybe you would want to supply us with some of our stories, we could pay you. And this became a very, very profitable relationship over a period of time. So much, in fact, that I befriended a lot of people within the office of TMZ, including Harvey at one time. Way after my relationship had ended with TMZ, I was still getting a lot of tips from within TMZ's offices. I was getting tips on sex tapes. I was getting tips on news stories. One day I was told a story that I had to vet very closely. And the story was that at one point a woman calls into TMZ's newsroom, a woman by the name of Melissa K. Dagadag. She is a lawyer here on the west side of Los Angeles. And according to my sources at TMZ, she was calling to shop a tape of what she said was Donald Trump and Melania Trump in an elevator in New York City leaving a law office. Supposedly, as the story goes, they were leaving a lawyer's office because they were in the process of discussing a divorce. This phone call comes into TMZ somewhere around mid-September 2016, 2 months before the election. And she represents that this tape came from her client being a person who worked in a monitoring monitoring station that monitors cameras that are in various elevators and various properties around New York City. And that her client was looking to sell this to the highest bidder. When Harvey gets on the phone, Harvey Levin, and Jason Beckerman, who's the head lawyer, this is what was again told to me by the people at TMZ, they agree to meet with Melissa Dagadag and find out exactly what she's looking for as far as price. Harvey and Jason Beckerman leave the offices that night to go meet with this lawyer. Now, anybody that knows anything about Harvey or knows anything about TMZ, They know that Harvey doesn't leave the ivory tower. He never leaves the newsroom there. It's not something he does. He's got his minions that go out and chase down his stories. But in this particular case, obviously, Harvey felt it would be very beneficial to be on the good side of somebody who could potentially win the election, or perhaps influence the election by either suppressing this information or putting it out there. And the next thing we know, Harvey comes to the newsroom the next day and says to the people who had asked him what happened with the meeting, he said that she never showed, right? And that Beckerman and Harvey got spoofed. Well, then there was a call made, according to my other source that worked at TMZ, that Harvey had called a guy by the name of John Rogovin, who's the EVP and head counsel of Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers owns TMZ's property. And I guess Harvey and him had a conversation that the person supposedly wanted $25 million. Now, I don't know if that was discussed on the phone or maybe he really did have an in-person meeting with this Melissa Dagadek. We'll never really know, because what it later happens is not only do I get tipped off on this story, a couple other people at the same time are tipped off. A guy by the name of Anthony Cormier, who worked at BuzzFeed, and other people at Wall Street Journal. And eventually I ended up speaking with Ronan Farrow, who had heard from other people. Now, all of a sudden, there's all these journalists that are trying to track this down. Now, how do they come to me? They come to me, obviously, because I'm the celebrity sex tape guy. So they figure it's a tape, it's salacious, it must be something that's come across my desk. Just like months earlier, if you remember with the PP tape, that Russian tape from the Christopher Steele dossier, people were calling me left and right saying, we know that you have it. We know that you must have seen this. We know that if it exists, you must know. Which couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, I never was shot that tape. Believe me, if anybody's out.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
There, and they're listening to the show, and you have access to such a tape, call me. I'm here.
Well, come to me. I'll put you in touch with Kevin.
Right. Ed's got my email. But long story short, this story gets chased down to the point where there were people literally stalking this Melissa Dagadag's office on the west side here. This Cormier guy, he was relentless, would not let up as far as the story. He came out here, I met with him at the coffee bean. I had really nothing to go off of other than the story that I just told you. He tells me that the story goes further, and that from what he was told, the tape was no longer for sale, and it was sold to the highest bidder of $25 million.
Get out of here.
And they were speculating that it was either Fox News or it was AMI that purchased it. Now, as you know, AMI being the parent company of the National Enquirer, they were just the subject of a big documentary on CNN, and it's been documented in court. You saw the deal that David Packer, the head of the CEO of AMI, and Dylan Howard, who's no longer there anymore, they were all caught in the crosshairs with the Michael Cohen situation with Donald Trump, where they were guilty of suppressing a lot of negative material that got shopped to them. In fact, where they came into play was with Stormy Daniels and the Karen McDougal story, as everybody now knows who Stormy Daniels is. So that is where we left off. Then I was told by another writer who was chasing down the story that it wasn't AMI and it wasn't Fox that purchased it, but a Russian oligarch had purchased this on Trump's behalf. Again, it's all hearsay. I never saw this tape. I don't know if this tape truly exists. All I can tell you, Ed, is that the people I deal with are always solid. I've never, ever... I mean, look, I've had a few contacts that have come to me with stories over the years that proved to be not what we thought it was, but where there's smoke, there's always fire.
But these sources were tested sources. You trust them?
These are sources that broke some of the biggest news stories in the world. News stories that you and I have read about endlessly and still talk about, from Michael Jackson's death to Whitney Houston's death to, I can't even, there's so many stories, I don't even know where to begin.
Let me ask you a couple of questions.
These are people that vetted all of them. Yes.
If the tape was supposedly of Trump slapping Melania in an elevator, right?
Pushing her around, getting physical is what I was told.
Okay.
Other people said slapping or hitting her. It's funny because everybody said, if this tape would have been available during the election, I guarantee you he doesn't become president. I'm here to tell you, I don't know if that moves the needle at all.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Now, back to the elevator tape. The lawyer in that case, has she ever made any public statements about it?
Never.
Okay.
Never made a public statement. And the lawyer that Harvey calls at Warner Brothers, like I said, is a guy by the name, according to my source, was John Rogovich. And I looked him up, and sure enough, he is the head counsel at Warner Brothers. Has anybody approached him? I don't know. I'm assuming they had to have. I mean, some of these journalists I spoke to were accredited journalists. These aren't any slouches. These are FOIA experts. These are guys that know how to go through everything and find everything. Like yourself, you're a PI. You know what it takes to track a real story down.
Which brings up another question. Charlie Sheen. What is your involvement with Charlie Sheen?
Oh, man. I have a long, sordid past with Charlie.
Okay.
When Charlie started having his meltdowns and was hiring all those girls that were going up to his home off of Mulholland, all the girls were porn stars that were peripherally attached to people that I knew in the industry still. And obviously, being a tipster at TMZ, people found out within the adult industry if you have a story called KB. That's my nom de guerre, however. So people would call KB, and I would get them paid. In the case of Charlie Sheen, there were a few girls that came to me in the very beginning that were telling me stories that he was pushing cars off the top of Mulholland into Sherman Oaks, like off the top of cliffs.
Right.
Brand new Mercedes. They were finding at the bottom of a ravine. He was just so crazy and so rich. He would just show these girls, look, I got this kind of money. Look what I can do. And he'd push a car off the hill. $60,000 Mercedes. So then I started getting articles. One of the Mercedes that was found at the bottom of the hill had his entire will with an itemized list of his possessions that showed everything from Babe Ruth's jersey to World Series rings to all kinds of stuff, collector's watches. I'm talking like Vacheron Constantine's. We're talking about watches that are $100,000 up to $1 million watches. So I got that. Then it started becoming girls calling me saying, look, I was at Charlie's last night, and he OD'd, and we had to call the ambulance, and this is what happened. He gave me a rock of cocaine this size, and he gave me $30,000 to sleep with him. And I'd be like, wow. And they'd tell me that they wanted to go public with the information and tell the story. And I'm like, I don't know if you really want to sell the story. I mean, Harvey will probably give you $2,000 over at TMZ. Harvey's like the Fred Sanford of these gossip blogs. He's a junk man. If you don't know what you're coming in with, like a pawnbroker, they'll steal this stuff from you. So what you really want to do is you want to find a lawyer. And in some cases, the girls did lawyer up. In one particular case, Capri Anderson was one of the girls I represented. And I found her lawyer. Capri was the girl that they found in the bathroom at the Plaza Hotel in New York City when Charlie had gone crazy one night. And she was the one that was accused of stealing his watch, if you remember that whole story.
Oh, sure.
So she was another girl that came forward. And again, I thought it would be best because a lot of the information a lot of these girls were sharing wasn't only the fact that he was doing drugs. Everybody knew he was a drug addict. It later became that they had pictures of pill bottles from his nightstand drawer that showed that he had basically a prescription for AZT and Truvada, which is the cocktail for somebody who has HIV. That is when things got really interesting because obviously he didn't want the world to know that he had HIV and tried to contain that for as long as possible. At the same time, I was learning that there were many people that had lawsuits pending against Charlie or were threatening lawsuits, or Charlie had been paying out of pocket every month to keep quiet. There was a lot of hush money coming out of Charlie's camp. And one thing that we learned later on, and still I just heard this the other day, as a matter of fact, is Charlie's broke. At one point, Charlie was probably the richest man in Hollywood. But because of drugs, because of some really bad decisions, and because of a lot of girls and a lot of interesting people, he is now broke.
Wasn't there also supposed to be a sex tape of him with a transvestite?
I don't know about an actual transvestite.
Okay.
I know that I've seen some other things that were definitely eyebrow raising.
Now,
things that people wouldn't think Charlie would be a part of.
Now, I remember seeing, I was looking for it last night. I was searching all over for it, and I remember this story. These two guys claimed that they somehow had his hard drive or something, or made a copy of his hard drive, and they were trying to sell it. They were shopping it around, right? And then they turned up missing. Do you know that story?
They didn't end up missing.
Oh, okay.
I know the story.
Then what is? How come I can't find it on the internet right now?
Those guys are long gone. I don't know, because I haven't talked to the one guy, Nicholas, but he was a guy that I met with. I got that hard drive back.
Okay.
There was another person that was found dead in their home. This was a guy by the name of Rick Calamaro, who was Charlie Sheen's major domo. This guy was with Charlie nonstop, and he was a big club promoter back in the day, redhead guy, walked with a limp, and a big coke dealer here in town for a while. They found him dead in his home in the Beverly Fairfax area of L.A. And according to the people that showed up and said it was a heroin or opiate overdose, which people found very suspect because he wasn't into opiates. So, yeah, he ended up dying, I believe, of a heroin, which he was not a heroin junkie. Now, who knows what really happened with that? I don't know.
So you think
people
he was?
That had the,
yeah. Do you think he was the source of the hard drive?
I don't. I know that there was a cell phone also that was brought to my attention that I ended up getting at one point. And the guys that represented that they had this cell phone said they won it in a poker game with Charlie. Now, if you would have met these guys, you would say to yourself, there's no way that Charlie Sheen would be in a home or a poker game with these people. These people were total heroin addicts and very dangerous-looking people. So, the phone was stolen. Somebody stole it. And that phone had a lot of information in it that was – all this information later came out, so there's nothing that's being suppressed now. Maybe there's probably a few things that I am not at liberty to discuss, but pretty much everybody knows Charlie Sheen's story now.
Yeah. All right, this is a good time to take a commercial break. We are with a fascinating guy, okay, Kevin Blatt. This guy's got some real stuff, man. I don't even know where to go next with this. His website is called profiledefenders.com, and it's like one of those reputation defender type places to remove negative comments on the internet. Is that basically it?
Not only can we remove negative articles or erroneous articles or libelous articles, we also can help your restaurant, your business, or your service with positive reviews. Our job is to flood search engines, whether it's negative or positive.
Gotcha.
In most cases, when people... We'll talk about it.
Yeah, when we come back from the break, let's spend a little time on that, okay? We'll be right back with more of Kevin Blatt after these messages. And now a word from our sponsors. If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law.
Are you ready to change your life, but don't know how to start? Is your stress and worries keeping you awake at night? Have you been battling grief, anxiety, or depression all alone? Have you lost touch with your own sense of being or spirituality? Soul Free Therapies offers professional and affordable live video streaming counseling and coaching services from the comfort of your own home. Sessions offered in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Go to our website at www.soul-free.com and book your first session today.
The Opperman Report is brought to you by Aquadam.net. You can give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, the insurance companies to deal with, and not to mention all the memories, the precious memories that are lost in the flood. You can never replace those. And Aquadam can be a tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. The cofferdam is filled with water to control water and is reusable as long as it's taken care of. It can protect your home or business from rising floodwaters like a dam, but without the beavers. It can also be used in construction. If you need an area to be dewatered, an Aquadam can do the job. An Aquadam was used at SeaWorld in Orlando for the Mako roller coaster ride during the coaster's construction by dewatering the work area. An Aquadam is now dewatering the work area at San Antonio SeaWorld for their newest roller coaster ride. An Aquadam has been used in many construction projects all around the U.S. and all around the world. Now give Aquadam a call, 707-764-2119. You can look them up online at aquadam.net. You can find them on Facebook at Aquadam Inc. You call them up, you email them, you tell them Ed Opperman sent you, and they're going to take 10% off the price. Aquadam.net, 707-764-2119. PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with pure soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to send a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild.
It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. We're here today with Kevin Blatt, the expert on celebrity scandals and is known as Fixer to the Stars, and he runs a company called ProfileDefenders.com. What is ProfileDefenders.com?
Profile Defenders is a reputation management company that primarily reverses negative entries on the web. So if you've got a bad article, your ex-wife had it out for you, you were a professional athlete that's been accused of rape and later tried and found innocent of all charges, as you know, there's always a digital footprint that lasts online. So I deal with people that run the gamut, from doctors to lawyers to celebrities that have negative information online. Now, I guess it's important to say that depending on where the article's hosted, we're pretty good. About 90% of the time we could get it down or move it further back in the search engines. Obviously, if you're on a government website, the FTC, FCC, that kind of stuff, it's a little more tricky and more intensive.
And what if you're just the average person and some not is writing complaints about you? Is it affordable?
Yeah, I mean, we've got packages start at $350 a month and go up to $10,000 a month. It really depends on what the subject matter is, where it's being hosted, and how inflammatory it is. As you could imagine, my average client these days, is somebody that's paying between $2,500 and $5,000 a month, and that's usually for about 6 months. So, not to sugarcoat it, it's not cheap, but as you could imagine, a wrong review or a bad article on somebody could not only cost you your job, it could cost you fundraising, it could cost you shares of stock, you name it. I've had people lose $100 million when their company went public as a result of some of the stuff that was written about them. So you're buying peace of mind when you get involved with me.
Let me ask you this. Back to that first tape, the one we were talking about with the One Night in Paris. You were sued for $20 million. How did that settle?
I didn't have $20 million, so I wasn't really scared about losing $20 million. I was just this preppy kid living on a La Costa golf course in San Diego, and none of my neighbors knew I was even affiliated in the adult industry until this happened. Then the next thing you know, there's news trucks set up on the bluffs around my house, and all of a sudden I'm the porn king of San Diego. I ended up cooperating with the lawyers, but also they knew that I wasn't the money guy behind everything. To be honest with you, I was more of a front guy than I was the money guy. The people that owned the website, which was called sexbrat.com back then, the people I was telling you were good friends with Seth Wachowski with the Pam and Tommy Lee tape, they were the money and they were the brains behind this whole thing. They could not be in the internet business. They couldn't do any type of internet billing or any type of phone billing because they had a situation arise many years before this had happened where they were the creators of the 900 number, as you know it.
Right.
And some things went down with the FTC. This is a pretty funny story, actually. I should share this with your listeners because they'd probably get a kick out of this. They had a Santa Claus scam that they ran at one point.
I know this story.
So you know that Santa would tell the kids to hold their phone up to the television, and when they heard the high-pitched squeal, tell Santa what they wanted. And that high-pitch tone that came through the television was what they call DTMF, or dual-tone multi-frequency, which is the same sound that a fax machine makes, that high-pitched shrieking sound. But what it really did was it dialed your phone to Chad Africa, which was a republic in Africa that had literally no laws, no bounds, and they were charging you $200 a minute. By the time you got your phone bill, or your parents got your phone bill and saw what you had done, they had gotten a float of this money from the phone company. So you can imagine they raked in tens of millions of dollars. I believe they settled for a pittance of that, but part of their settlement was that they could not operate any kind of IP or any kind of internet site whatsoever, and that's primarily where I came into play. I was the perfect target. I was the perfect target. Because not only did I not know their history with telecom, I didn't realize that I was infringing on someone's rights of publicity. One of the things that people don't understand when they get involved with these sex tapes, or people come to me trying to sell a sex tape,
right,
is you can't put these sex tapes out legally without both parties in the sex tape signing off on it. There's such a law called USC 2257, and that is something that you will see on every jewel case or every box cover of any adult movie or anything you've ever watched in a hotel. On the bottom, it'll say USC 2257, custodian of records. And what that means is there's somebody that's accessible by the government for 12 to 15 hours a day in an office that holds the records that show the identification of the people who are sexually depicted, as well as a release that they had signed saying that it's okay to use their name and likeness and their rights of publicity, or as I call it, ROP. That means that the only person in entertainment or on radio that could have the Ed Opperman show is Ed Opperman. You've trademarked and licensed your name, obviously. It's copywritten. So if I come out with the Ed Opperman Comedy Hour, you're going to have a very valid lawsuit against me, or a very valid cease and desist letter that's going to come my way. And that's how lawyers shut these things down. 9 out of 10 times, you're infringing on the rights of publicity using Paris Hilton's name, using Kim Kardashian's name. Only they could use their name and their likeness for commercial exploitation.
So if someone comes to you with a tape now, right, how do you handle it? You don't sell it on the internet. What do you do now?
Okay, so what I'll do when somebody sends me a tape is first of all, I'll vet very carefully. How did they get the tape? How long have they had the tape? Are they in the tape? If they're in the tape, then there's certain rights that they have. In addition to the possession of the tape, they might have some co-copyright claim. If I'm having sex with Paris Hilton, then the people I'm having 50% copyright ownership, she's got 50% copyright ownership. Now, that's not to say if a lawyer approaches Paris's camp and says, my client is 50% copyright holder, he intends to put this tape out, obviously he knows he's going to need your client's rights of publicity, so she's going to need to sign off on it. We're going to offer your client the ability to license this tape. If she would like to buy the copyright, she could own this and do with it what she wants. In other words, it's funny because people say to me, isn't that extortion? It sounds a lot like extortion. Well, if you and I do it, yeah, it's extortion if I say, if you don't give me $1 million, I'm putting this tape on.
Right.
But when lawyers do it, it's called due process of the law. This is why lawyers run this town, and lawyers have a printing press where they literally print their own money. So this is what goes on behind the scenes. So I work with a few lawyers in this town who understand copyright acquisition. They understand copyright infringement. They understand trademarks. And these are some of the best lawyers in the country. This is what they do all day long. And I'm happy to say that when people come to me, even if they don't have the rights to the tape, you understand that we're living in the digital age, and it's as simple as pushing a button on YouTube or uploading it to Pornhub, and it's there and it's out, and there's not much I'm going to be able to do for you once it's out there. I could take care of an article that's spidered in the search engines, but once your video is out there, it's very difficult to take down. The way in which we do take these things down, or people can take them down, is what you call a DMCA notice, or a Digital Millennium Copyright Act. And this is what goes on every day with Pornhub and YouPorn and all these different places that are infringing with somebody else's copyrights or somebody else's content. They'll get a DMCA notice to their offshore corporation, wherever it's being housed, in Cyprus or wherever it is, and they'll get this, and they'll have 3 days to answer the DMCA and or take down the content in question. After those 3 days, guess what? Somebody uploads the same clip, and they go through the same process all over again. It's futile. So this is where, when people come to me, again, I'm like the Fred Sanford of these porn tapes or these salacious tapes. One of the things I got involved with, and I know that you have some familiarity with this, is back when Tiger Woods got in trouble. As you know, there was Rachel Yucatel, who was the person who actually really had sex with Tiger Woods and was in an extramarital affair with him. But then you had the pile-on effect. There were a couple other girls that maybe hooked up with him one night or were at a bachelor party with him and whatnot. Then all of a sudden there became 17 girls. And many of them were girls that came to me that I vetted, and I was able to tell they were all full of it. It's an interesting scenario, but people did have text messages. They did have pictures. They had a lot of stuff that we were able to suppress at one particular time. So yeah, it's not just sex tapes that come my way. It's text messages. It's the proverbial, genitalia pics. It's the screenshots. There's really no privacy when you're dealing with phones or the internet anymore. So I get a lot of things that people would not even comprehend. It's possible to get.
Is there a way for you to tell us which celebrities you've silenced, like that you've covered up for? How can you do that?
I mean, I could with the dead ones, I suppose. Okay. But I mean, Vern Troyer, who was Mini-Me in the Austin Powers movies, had a sex tape that got shot my way. And it was, needless to say, a little disturbing. I mean, the guy was 3'7" or whatever he was, and the woman was normal size. She was 5'6". And, I mean, I don't know how I could put this. I'm going to try to give you the PG-13 rating since we're on terrestrial radio. But the first 10 minutes of this tape, he's pleasing her, and it looks like a fetus trying to re-enter the womb, if that makes any sense. So it was a very weird tape, but comical at the same time. I remember bringing it to TMZ, and Harvey said, "I can't look at this." And he ran out of the room. And then 2 minutes later, he came back in and he goes, "I have to see more." So it was something that would have hurt his career immensely. But just the rumor of it coming out was bad enough. But I felt like after looking at this tape, there's no reason that this thing should ever see the light of day. It's just not complimentary. It's not what people are going to want to see. And if people do want to see it, they're going to want to see it because it's like looking at a car accident. So that was definitely suppressed.
And now a word from our sponsors. If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law. PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with Pure Soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to sing a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild.
It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. We're here today with Kevin Blatt. You know, what about you hear about these stories that like Hefner and Larry Flint, they have these huge collections of all kinds of underground tapes?
I know Hefner had some that were destroyed. There have been lots of rumors from a lot of the girls that I knew that were playmates that he had a treasure trove of all kinds of stuff that they would watch on movie nights. Some of that.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Include gay porn. I don't know if you ever heard that. But
oh, no, yeah, I've heard those stories, too. That when Hefner would have sex, they would have a TV set playing, and they would be 4 or 5, and they'd have gay porn on the TV. But I'm talking about, tapes of celebrities, like Johnny Carson, Ron Reagan. Have you heard those stories?
Now I'll tell you a little story about Johnny Carson. There's a reason why they call him the king of late night.
Okay.
I had a guy by the, I'm not going to tell this guy's name. Guy hits me up about 7-8 years ago, and he tells me he's got a sex tape of Johnny Carson. And I said, well, you know, male sex tapes don't really sell. This sounds like something that might be newsworthy, and it might be something his estate would probably want to take off the market. Maybe we could approach the estate with it. Yeah, I'm game. Why don't you come meet me? And the guy says, I'll come meet you, but all I have is the copy. It's on my phone. I took it off of a television because the original tape was on what's called a 3/4-inch U-matic reel. This was the technology that predated the VHS tape. It was like a big beta tape.
Right.
And obviously it dates it from the 70s. It was a first-generation videotape. And when he came to show it to me, it showed a woman with a bouffant hairdo, who I later learned was one of his wives, named Joanne. By the way, did you know he was married to 3 women named Joanne?
Yeah, I do know that, yeah.
Very strange.
Yeah, isn't it?
Also made it very difficult for me to ascertain which Joanne this was, but I figured out which Joanne it was, and I figured out that it was shot somewhere around 1974, 75. Had a tripod. He was a real enthusiast when it came to the home video, kind of like Bob Crane was back in the day from Hogan's Heroes. But this particular tape had him poolside with his wife, and they engage in a variety of different sexual positions. I was blown away at the size of Johnny Carson. Blown away. Like I said, there was a reason why they called him the King of Late Night. But that was a tape that I had seen. Now, after that, the guy told me that he had several other tapes. And you could actually Google this, and you'll see the person's name. Last name is Castleberry. This guy, William Castleberry, was the originator of that Johnny Carson tape. Now, he also said that he had a threesome tape that was on film canister of Marilyn Monroe with JFK and RFK.
Really?
And he still claims he's in possession of it. I believe the man's a con man. However, look, it's kind of like what Ice-T said one day. If I give you a box of hand grenades and you throw one hand grenade, and that one hand grenade's good, what's to say the rest of the box has good hand grenades? You don't know, right? He gave me one good tape, so it's very possible he could have this, but I would think, the government raided his house twice. I don't know if it was because of that or because he owed tremendous amounts of money to the IRS. But according to this guy, he still has it. And every couple of years we'll hear from him that he's going broke and he needs to sell that tape. Never seen it. Don't know if it's 100% accurate.
And what about the ones you hear about the Ronald Reagan gay porn?
Never heard of that.
Never heard that? Okay.
I've heard of the Chuck Connors, obviously, and there was a Barbra Streisand. The Barbra Streisand tape was BS. Was not her.
Now we're running out of time, okay? But is there like a white whale you've been chasing like your whole life? Like a story or a tape or something is out there that you're chasing?
Well, what's funny is I had it. Oh, I wouldn't call it a whale. Obviously, the whale would be the PP tapes, the Donald Trump PP tape. If it really existed, and I have people that would pay enormous amounts of money. I don't need to tell you that. I'm sure the DNC would probably pay enormous amounts of money for something like that. But I'm not actively chasing that down. There was something that was said to me many years ago. I hang out at the Comedy Store here in Los Angeles on the Sunset Strip, very famous location. And I hang out with a lot of comics. One comic said to me one day, listen, KB, if you ever find a tape of Chelsea Handler, you've got to let me know. Because I heard that there's a tape of Chelsea Handler that she made, a sex tape, and accidentally put it on a demo reel and sent it out to agents and the promoters of a comedy festival in Aspen. And I said, what? He's like, yeah, supposedly she, taped over a VHS. Now, you remember back in the day, Ed, with VHS tapes. Unless you, punched out the top little holes on the top, it was very easy to tape over your bar mitzvah from, when you were 13 or Grandma Mabel's birthday party. What had happened was, years later, a guy calls me up and says he's got a sex tape of Chelsea Handler. And I'm like, oh, my God, I've heard about this. I meet up with the guy. He's an old television show writer in Hollywood, and he tells me he used to go to a restaurant, and this girl would wait tables at a place called the Blue Plate Luncheonette in Santa Monica. And he recognized this girl one day. He was flipping through channels and saw she had a talk show. And, oh, my God, that's the girl who waited on me. She gave me her demo tape. Went through a box of tapes he had, put it in, and saw that it was her. Now, why anybody would hold on to somebody's demo reel on a VHS tape in a box all these years later is beyond me. But the guy really had this tape. And just as what the comedian had told me, it was her doing her comedy in the living room of her cheap apartment in Santa Monica. And then in the middle of it, she's having sex from behind it. And it just ends with her climaxing. And then it goes right back into her horrible stand-up comedy.
Wow.
And this turned out to be that tape. And I remember the first person I called wasn't National Enquirer, wasn't TMZ. I called my comedian friend Sam. And I said, Sam, I got the tape. couldn't believe it. So, I mean, it was something that I wasn't chasing, but I knew it was out there, and it found its way to me.
Have you ever heard of a movie studio getting access to a tape and then using that tape to convince a star to leave their other film company they're doing other films with and come to them?
No, but that sounds like a great premise for a movie or TV show.
And it's a tape where the guy was up on a ladder and she was giving him oral sex?
No.
You don't heard that? Okay. I'll talk to you off the air about that. Okay.
I would love to hear this. That sounds great.
I don't know if it's a true story or not. I heard the story. I kind of trust the guy, but I don't know. But I'll tell you off the air. All right, Kevin Blatt, man, this is great stuff. I got to have you back. You can come back anytime you want. This is
I love it. Listen, it was fun to revisit some of these stories. I mean, look, I will say this. If anybody's out there listening to the show and knows anybody that's holding on to something for years and they don't know what to do with it, or they think it might be illegal, or maybe its value isn't worth anything anymore, call me. I'd be more than happy to talk to you. I'm like a lawyer where you got to pay a retainer. I'll sit here and talk to you all day long and tell you if it's worth anything or if we could do anything with it. I'll tell you the one interesting thing about what's going on with me now. I had 4 tapes shopped in the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
And for the first time, they're being shopped virtually. Like, I'm actually meeting people online through FaceTime that are showing me tapes virtually.
And you were saying yesterday that now because of the decline in the economy, there's more people trying to shop this stuff around?
Absolutely. Everybody is broke, and everybody's trying to figure out how to capitalize off of that thing they had in the desk drawer for so long.
You know, it's so true. I was just doing it last night. Kevin Blatt, thank you so much. ProfileDefenders.com. This guy's the celebrity scandals and is known as the fixer to the stars. Thank you so much, my friend.
And the man about town. Don't forget that. I'll talk to you soon, Dad. Have a great one.
Good night.
And now a word from our sponsors. OppermanReport.com. Hey, do you like what you're hearing? Do you like the work that you see us doing here at Opperman Report? You can support that work by becoming a member at OppermanReport.com. And as you have access to over 200 exclusive shows and interviews that you can't find on YouTube or Spreaker or iHeart or iTunes or KYAH. You can't find them anywhere else online, exclusive to our member sections, to our members. Also, too, there's images, videos, documents, court docs. And don't forget, you can hear your ad played here on the Opperman Report, reach hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people on a daily basis because the show is repeated every day all over the world. Contact me at oppermanreport@gmail.com and I'll give you a good deal on advertising rates.
Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe the facility you manage could establish new revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Cart King International can be the answer to your needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.
The Opperman Report is brought to you by Aquadam.net. You can give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, the insurance companies to deal with, and not to mention all the memories, the precious memories that are lost in the flood. You can never replace those. And Aquadam can be a tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. The cofferdam is filled with water to control water and is reusable as long as it's taken care of. It can protect your home or business from rising floodwaters like a dam, but without the beavers. It can also be used in construction. If you need an area to be dewatered, an Aquadam can do the job. An Aquadam was used at SeaWorld in Orlando for the Mako roller coaster ride during the coaster's construction by dewatering the work area. An Aquadam is now dewatering the work area at San Antonio SeaWorld for their newest roller coaster ride. An Aquadam has been used in many construction projects all around the U.S. and all around the world. Now give Aquadam a call, 707-764-2119. You can look them up online at aquadam.net. You can find them on Facebook at Aquadam Inc. You call them up, you email them, you tell them Ed Opperman sent you, and they're going to take 10% off the price. Aquadam.net, 707-764-2119.
Are you ready to change your life, but don't know how to start? Is your stress and worries keeping you awake at night? Have you been battling grief, anxiety, or depression all alone? Have you lost touch with your own sense of being or spirituality? Soul Free Therapies offers professional and affordable live video streaming counseling and coaching services from the comfort of your own home. Sessions offered in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Go to our website at www.soul-free.com and book your first session today.
If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law. PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with Pure Soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to send a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa Welcome Bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo! Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.